Yo, what up? It's your boy Tim, aka TL Speaks.
And it's your girl Yami, aka Yams Be Saying, and you are now tuned into Love and Theology. So you were just
I'm sorry.
I know I've questioned many things in this world, but I never had to question your love. So I know one thing's for sure. I can put trust in a real love, your love.
For every mom who ever missed a meal so they would have enough to let their babies eat. Fathers who grind every day to provide more than good advice. Charlie Sheen.
Yo, hey, we're so glad that y'all here checking in. We getting ready to wind down our season, right?
ah yes.
We getting ready to wind.
Lent has already begun, so normally we fall off around this time.
Yeah, we're gonna take some time to talk to God and do the thing for Lent, the 40 days.
So what are we doing? Testimony time stuff?
Testimony time.
Testimony time.
So, some good things that happened to me. I'm still bashing off of my wife, Yams Be Saying success. I mean,
I thought you was going to go back to that one testimony that you got. I was okay with it. I was just also like, okay.
Hey, man, haters come.
Still here? Okay.
Haters come and haters go. Nah, I'm bashing off your success. You getting ready to meet, your second favorite person. You got the chance to meet your second favorite person.
First favorite person.
Jonathan, I don't even know his name.
Really, Majors, you know him.
Jonathan Majors, and so I'm still happy for you. So I'm still real.
Are you really? I just want y'all to know that he was sending me all kinds of hate and text messages. So anyway, but haters gonna hate.
You should know.
I am proud of my daughter.
Oh man, you want to tell about that? I forgot about that.
I mean, you were there, so you wanna.
So the other day I was outside cooking on the grill, and our neighbor, who used to watch Tabitha a lot, used to ask us to bring Tabitha. We didn't ever ask them to do it. They used to come to us like, can she come over because our daughter's kind of shy. We want her to help bring her out of this shell. So they used to come and get her all the time, do all kinds of stuff with her, even when we didn't want her to go. They was coming to get her. But anyway, around what I want to say the pandemic time, they got kind of funny, and one would think that it was because of the pandemic. But it really wasn't, man. We saw a shift even with that because they wasn't stopping anybody else from outside coming in to their home. You know what I'm saying? But
yeah, I'm talking about they used to have
parties, fiestas. Right. So we would bring Tabitha over, and then they would bring her home like 15 minutes later. Remember, that's how it started.
Yeah, that is how it started.
It started like 15, like dang. Well, she used to be over there. We have to go get her.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
All the time.
And but anyway, so Tabitha was outside. It's been probably about 2 years since she'd been over there at this point. And so the neighbor goes see Tabitha, say, "Hey Tabitha, we why you haven't been coming over? We haven't seen you in a while. We miss you." Tabitha said, "Yeah, it was y'all the one who didn't want me to come over there." and then the neighbor says, kind of smile, he got shamed. I can tell
he
you
was embarrassed, yeah.
And then he was like, well, why you say that, Tabitha? Tabitha said, "I could tell." That was it. It walked off. But I'm gonna tell you what was so amazing about that. And I think we should all take a lesson from Tabitha first, And the lesson is, like, after she said her piece, she went on throwing the ball like she never said it before. She didn't speak on it. She didn't speak on it or nothing. Like, it never happened. So she said what she had to say, and she didn't harp on it. Oftentimes, what do? We harp on. We have to go tell people, I went off on so-and-so. You see what I'm saying? But Tabitha said what she had to say. And not only that, Tabitha never bothered us that she felt some kind of way about it. Think about that. I never even knew.
I mean, I knew because she kept saying, "Mommy, how come we can't go over there?" And I just was just kind of like, let's just find something else to do. Or, I would try to divert it. Because she was already, our child is very sensitive. So, like, the social injustice stuff that was happening was really harping on her. The fact that she couldn't really hang out with her friends at school anymore was really harping on her. I didn't want to add any more to her stress, but I knew that she had recognized it. But I knew that I could, in a way, medicate it by giving her alternatives. She had plenty of friends that we could have hung out with, and we did.
I'm going to tell you what was so good, though. I think it was a couple hours later, I asked Tabitha, I said, "Tabitha, what made you say that to that man?" And mind you, when Tabitha did that, I'm right there beside her, and I didn't tell her she was wrong or nothing. I just looked at him like, So, but I stood there reassuring her as a parent that what you said was okay.
That's right. That's what we're supposed to do.
I didn't go back over there and be like, "I'm sorry." I didn't want her to see me apologize for her, none of that, because that would have just showed her that what she did was wrong when it wasn't, But I asked her a while, probably about an hour or so later. I said, "Why you say that to that guy?" She was like, "I heard you and Mommy say that ain't nobody getting no passes this year," something like that. Man, what I said? Like no passes this year for nobody.
And she was right, because we did say, like, listen, you ain't got to. My phone is up here, so I can't really show you. But someone said in a meme, ain't giving out no more slides, not even cha-cha. You know what I'm saying? This is your last time. You had your chance to get funky. And that's just really how we decided to operate. We don't have no beef. We don't have no animosity. But when we see things and we know that they're coming from a place of malice or they don't mean us no well, we're not going to be like, oh, well, I guess it's okay. No. Hey, God bless you. I think Dr. Ma said it very, very well when he was saying at the core of what's happening with us is that we're not creating space of enmity between us either. I'm not waking up thinking about how angry I am about you. That's the part of
I'm not mad at you, right?
But I'm also like, we can't, like, if your aim is to harm me in some kind of way, you can't occupy my space, and that's okay.
And we just gotta be we actually gotta be real about it. I was talking to somebody about the situation with Tabitha, what she did, and as I was talking to him, I said, man, the problem is, man, we won't tell people how they made us feel. And Tabitha showed them, this is how you made me feel, man. We got to get to a point to tell, ain't nothing wrong with telling somebody, man, you hurt me.
Let me tell you, let me tell you what she did again today.
Oh, yeah.
Tabitha.
And she went straight to it.
Okay, so we're at church. And one of the life lessons. We're at church, and one of the boys from last week kind of shoved her and kept shoving her, right? Apparently he shoved her again today. So I see Tab beelining to some adult, and I'm just kind of like, oh Lord. Like in my mind, I'm thinking she out here trying to construct a play date. We ain't got time for it. I ain't got the capacity for another play date. So I see her turn to the little boy, and she's like, "Is that your mom? Is that your mom?" She be like, and by the time I'm here, she was like, I just wanted to tell her. I was like, just tell her, meaning like, if you're going to say something to the adult that he was pushing me in class, and that's not okay. And, the mom took care of it at the time, and the mom was just like, next time you do it, push him back, which I thought was like something that Tim would say. Mm-hmm. But I was like, Tim ain't wait for us to get involved. She was just kind of, you know what? Your problem for me. Let me go ahead and, solve it. Which, if you know my parenting style, the key thing I do is try to have you, before you come to me about anything, have you attempted to problem solve this issue yourself? And if you haven't, hey, let me go ahead and get involved as much as possible. And listen, Tab will be all right.
And she was so cool about it because she sat down through the rest of the service and say nothing, but time was over. She was like,
is that your mom? Is that your mom?
I gotta go.
Okay, great.
You would never know what she's thinking, man. Like she didn't show no emotion. Time service was over. She over there talked to a grown up, like, what's going on?
I said, I for sure thought this was going to be about something completely different.
I remember one time Tabitha told me, her friend that she went to the party with, what's her name? Amelia. She said, I be telling people, me and Amelia be watching everybody. We see everybody. We see what everybody be doing. That's how they do it. We go tell. Yeah, she was so proud about it. He said, then we go tell, but we see everything. We sit in the corner and say, we quiet.
I love my kid.
She is a trip.
She's like the best thing that ever happened.
Oh, man.
Well, I'm proud of her, essentially, because she is demonstrating basically how to do this life thing. Yeah. And she's doing it so well.
I mean, it's funny, man. Like, we speak and we say this stuff on memes, like, do this and do that. And then, but people really not living it. It's good. It's safe to see it on the phone. Mm. Tabitha showing you what this thing look like. You know what I mean? If you say you're not giving out no more pads, I'm gonna show you what it look like. You know what I mean?
And that was a reminder because I don't remember us saying. I didn't even remember us saying that around her. But she's right. I mean, we have established a rule in our family. In our immediate circles that we don't have no beef. But like, hey,
I would just tell people, man, if you wronged us. And we're not saying that to you. Just keep it like that. Don't come to us like you did Tabitha. Like, you thinking Tabitha crazy gonna say why you ain't been coming around?
It's the wildest thing because even for me, I've been having people who have been intentionally harmed us. Just going that way, like, hey, I just wanted to see how you doing. Don't check on me. No, I'm good. I'm straight. God bless you. We love you. I'm still praying for you. I'm still praying for God. And that is my posture. My posture for people who may have felt like I have wronged them or our family has wronged them in any kind of way, is to pray for them, for real. And I'm not even talking, and that's how I knew my posture had changed, because it wasn't like prayers like, get them off me, God. It was kind of like, God, bless them. Lord, help them to see how purposeful they are. Right. Help them see your goodness. Help them, like, literally my prayers have changed in that posture. So when I tell you, like, I really don't have no beef, I really don't. Right. Now, don't test me, because I still am, a work in progress, and I will still, ride it out for myself, like my baby. But I don't have the space. God has been so faithful that I really don't have the space to be mad about whatever.
We ain't got time for it no more, man. It's time out. We're just moving on.
Yeah, we're just trying our best to move on. And then God is for everything that we may have felt like we lost, even today, is proof of that.
Oh yeah, even today.
Like, everything
like tenfold. Everything we paid for today came right back in double.
Yeah.
Like that quick.
Oh, that's right. Like in money, like tangibly and in relationships.
Esau just had to pay for dinner. It came right back. That's crazy. God is really doing everything. You know what I mean? So
anyways, so what are we talking about today?
Hey, so we was talking about just
yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I just remembered what it was. Go ahead.
No.
Okay, so last episode we had a conversation about
Beyonce and
but beforehand we start. Maybe we didn't say. I don't know. But in our week last week, Tim and I had a lot of kind of experiences. So we went to a listening party for album visual that I'm not going to name for the purposes of what we're going to say. But
you know what? You don't tell you why she just did that. Just remind me not to mess up, because but go ahead. I know I can look at that thing like I'm not going to name it.
Political. But album release to where I produced the project for, and then we had an event for Creed, which is fine. Creed 3, the movie. So they're two separate events, and technically they would be classified in the Christian space as secular versus not secular or sacred or whatever. Sacred, yeah. So Tim and I were having Tim at the sacred event. Tim had an interaction with a person who was on the team, and they were just really incredibly mean.
Yeah, they were just nasty, but while being nasty, they was claiming they love God at the same time.
So we just started having a thought, and I was telling him about how I'm going to talk about Jonathan Majors again. So I was on the press line, where they do like the red carpet or whatever for whatever. And we were at the end of the line, basically. I saw Jonathan Majors give the same enthusiasm, kindness, and just big person energy from the very beginning all the way into the end.
I would even say, I saw one part where you talking to the guy you work for. He said, "Man, you getting buffed."
Yeah.
You would have thought they knew each other. You know what I mean?
Just
man, you getting buffed.
Straight kindness, and honestly, that was for everybody we encountered that night. Everybody was just straight kindness, and I was telling Tim how there's like a contrast, because I've worked in quite a few kind of like sacred or gospel or, gospel music or gospel or, preachers or whatever spaces. And like over 50% of my experiences in those things have been like the people weren't nice. Right. You know what I'm saying? Just like, just unkind is the best way to, and because nobody owes you niceness necessarily, but not just unkind. Versus the amount of times that I've worked in secular spaces, these people have been respectful, they've been kind, they've been on time. A pleasure to work with around the board. So, and Tim and I have had a variety of experiences. Tim used to serve as an armor bearer, so he's been in a lot of these spaces where he's had to see people at their most vulnerable.
Some of these people are the ones that y'all love and lift up in the gospel circle, And
we were just talking to each other about the differences. And I guess for me, I would say that if I'm modeling if I'm trying to like construct who I'm going to be in the space, especially when as God continues to elevate me, the standard for me is not what I see in the church. Mm-hmm. It's often what I've seen in these secular spaces.
That's just crazy. But you know what? I believe even if you want to take it to the Bible, right? I forget. I can't give name, verse, and chapter or whatnot. But I do know it was something to be pulled from it when Jesus said, "You know what? I'm going to go to the Gentiles." You know why? Because the Jews wasn't doing what he was wanting them to do. But the Gentiles began to demonstrate what it was he was teaching.
Or the Samaritan, right?
You know, they would begin to demonstrate this stuff. You know what I mean? So it's the same thing. So if you want to look at the Jews and the Gentiles versus the sacred and the secular, it's the same thing that's going on now. How can somebody that we claim don't know God act more like God than somebody who read the Bible every day?
It's also why, going back to our previous episode, why I'm not moved by people going on these social platforms, calling people witches and warlocks and all that other stuff. Because at the same time, no, I'm not disputing that people might have malicious motives or different personalities that not be, but I'm talking about in terms of how these people present and demonstrate. The Christian world is often not leading, and I'm not. Let's forget about like the popular, whatever. Let's even talk about the divide between, Christian nationalism, white Christianity, white evangelicalism, Black church spaces, and the divide there. Yeah. Like there's a construct of division or separation or elitism that operates within these Christian spaces that, to be honest with you, if I'm trying to be who I'm trying to be, I'm not modeling them. Mm-hmm. I'm modeling, like, they don't closely modify what Christ appears to be to me in the text.
Well, I think most of the time what people do, what you're saying is so good. They don't want Jesus of the Bible. They want the Jesus they created for themselves.
That's right.
That Jesus that they create for themselves don't put restrictions on them. Mm-hmm. Don't hold it accountable.
That's right.
What they do accountable. What the Jesus that they created for themselves, what he does is give them things. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying?
House, cars.
That's the Jesus that they want. They don't want the Jesus that's gonna say, "Look, stop being so fleshly. Stop being so mean. Read the Bible. If you read that Bible and the Bible don't correct you first, you ain't got no business preaching to nobody, man. You need to keep reading that Bible until that Bible convicts you to change who you are first, man. Don't get out of it till it change you."
What you're saying is so good, because I was thinking about prayer. And we've had conversations. I think Tim did a Bible study a couple of weeks ago about prayer. And one of the things that he said that resonated very deeply with me is about how we often condition our prayers to be like, God give me, God grant me, please help me, that kind of thing. And what prayer ultimately does, if we're doing it correctly, is shift our perspective. It's not just about what we're asking God for, but our posture, our mindset, our hearts begin to shift. And as a result of those things shifting, other things in our lives begin to matriculate or manifest in different ways. You say you don't like the word manifest, but what I'm saying.
No, I like. No. When I say, I was thinking about something he just laid on me, but it's just like I began to do a study on the healing, right? Mm. It was certain things that Jesus had to heal to show that he was in from the book of Isaiah. He had to heal. He had to raise somebody from the dead. He had to heal leprosy, and he had to make somebody deaf hear. Those were the things that led to where he was going, because the prophet Isaiah spoke of it, right? So and then oftentimes when you begin to see the people that he healed in the Bible, none of them believe in him. Mm-hmm. He only healed the people that didn't believe him, so people could believe in him. Yeah. So basically, the ones that believed in him didn't get a healing. You understand what I'm saying? They didn't get him. Think about it. Helping unbelief. They didn't really believe in him. You see what I'm saying? So he began to heal people so they can believe in him, so they can follow him. You see what I'm saying? So what I was getting with that is that oftentimes, man, like when people see us, the Christian people. Man, I don't know. We got to edit it. I had a thought, but it's just.
I was about to say, I'm trying to figure out where you're going with it.
But I had it when I said, "Oh man," but the minute you said it, kind of threw me off.
I'm sorry.
But it's all good.
I'm gonna keep this.
But I'm gonna keep that. Cause I'm gonna preach that one day.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a brilliant point associated with it, but I'm not.
I kept talking, trying to bring.
He's circling the drain.
It's like when you be up there preaching, like I'm gonna keep on going so I get my point, man. It's coming back.
Something's happening here.
But
the whole time I was sitting there, I was like, what is he
I think
trying
God
to say?
said, "Oh, you know, Tim, just stop." Man.
That's okay.
But I didn't say nothing incorrect.
No, you didn't say nothing.
The stuff is right. I just couldn't get to my point.
The homiletical bridge was not bridge.
It wasn't
giving homiletical bridge at all.
It didn't.
But that's okay.
It did. Dang, I had a good one.
Yeah, I'm sure you did. It sounded like it was on the precipice. I was waiting for the closing. I was like, what is happening here?
I couldn't bring it home.
That's okay. So the point that we're trying to make, though, is that we're at 20 minutes. I think that we can go ahead and do, what's your theology?
No, I think we should keep going. This is a good one.
Okay, then, but what are we talking about in here?
We was talking about how basically I've been around like a lot of these people that we love. I wish I could call names, and I'm gonna get to a point. I'm telling you, I'm letting you know now. It's the point is coming. The names will be getting called.
I just don't.
I'm just letting you know.
But I hear you. But I also don't. I don't know if I see. I don't see the difference.
Okay, you know why I think differently? I think everybody called differently to do stuff, man. I think.
I agree with you.
I think at some point it has to happen, man. Because these people that we loving are leading people straight to hell.
Well, as long as God leads you, I don't really care.
But some of these people, I've been in these spaces, right, that we love, and they all treated me nasty. Because, I was nothing more than a servant. But we lift up this stuff that, you want to be a servant first. But when I had one, so I was been in spaces where I'd have been told to wipe a man's shoe because they saw me as nothing more than a servant. You understand what I'm saying? I done seen them go back into the office after they preached the whole house down and just talk crazy about the people they was preaching to. I done seen this stuff.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So it's funny, man, but you go into the secular world, these people are so nice and giving, man.
And humble, for real. And it's not everybody, right? Because there have been multiple spaces that we have been in where people have been the embodiment of the things that they preach.
I have seen that. I'm gonna tell you one, like your father.
Oh, my daddy, yeah.
Yep. From what I know about Dr. Otis Moss, he lives it, man. I mean, it comes out.
Mrs. Moss too.
Mrs. Moss. It comes out their pores, man. You know what I mean? Their kindness, man. Like when they saw our daughter, it was like, and then you didn't even talk about that. Oh, I forgot about that. We're gonna go back. I got to meet. Well, first, Otis Moss. That's my mentor. OM3. That's my mentor. Yes. That's my guy, man. It's a long history. People don't understand the history that I have.
I think people do because you have long made these statements on this. Like right now, Dr. Moss is listening to this podcast, and he's like, again.
That's like, hey, you know what? I will always give him reverence because he did so much for me before he even met me. You understand what I'm saying? But then I got to meet his dad, man.
Yeah, very nice.
That was big.
But that for real. Okay, I think I mentioned this. Maybe I mentioned this off camera to Christian A. Smith and Pamela Smith about how my dad for me in a lot of ways has always been the standard, and because I've seen how my dad handled life and people in front of the pulpit and behind the pulpit, I've often thought, oh, well, everybody's like this. And the fact of the matter is that everybody's not. But when I do see people like Dr. Moss, Mrs. Moss, Dr. Moss Jr., for example, even Pastor Tim and Pastor Gerald, especially for us,
they actually embody this stuff, man. Like, I'm gonna tell you, it's been a long time. I don't mean to cut you off.
No, that's fine.
You can watch somebody from the pulpit pour out their heart, and if you know preaching and studied it, you can tell when somebody really trying to get God's people home. And that's what Pastor Jerry and Pastor Tammy do it,
or trying to self-correct. I think that's the one of the things that I was talking to someone the other day. I was telling him, I was like, whatever I said. And he was like, the thing about you though, Yami, is that you understand and you know your proclivities. Mm-hmm. So you are prone to self-correct and edit and try to do better the next time. That right there is the making of great leadership. Yep. And also that's kind of what I see in the people that, some of the people that we get to be around. You know what I'm saying? Right. And hear me when I say this. A lot of these people, we don't get to see their full humanity.
Right.
So
And I think even since this is gonna be the last episode, we can name some of these great people out.
Is this the last?
I mean, you know, until they're going on sabbatical.
Is it though?
That's what you said.
I don't remember saying that.
Like Christian
A. Smith, yeah.
Christian A. Smith and his wife, man. What's her name? Pamela Smith. They are amazing.
Pam and
Whammy. Gabby and his wife. What's his name?
Her wife. Her husband.
Her husband.
Andrew.
They are amazing, man.
Yeah.
Otis Moss. Dr. Otis Moss. Your father.
Even my dean, man.
Like, even the dean.
Yeah. I just or Dr. Angela Parker. Like
Dr. Angela Parker.
One of my professors, Dr. Denise Massey, Karen Massey. Like, and again, it could be. I heard someone say one time, "What people get from me is what I see in them." Like, so it could be something in terms of how we're presenting that allows certain people to see or to exhibit or embody those behaviors, but that's also not true because there are people in our lives who can't stand us. But I say this in terms of the standard for me. My standard, I'm not creating a standard of how I want to handle or treat people and love on people based on what the church is doing, or some of the more prolific church figures are doing, or not all of them. For me, it's a combination. It's really on a people by people basis. It's not even church versus secular, because I don't even want to create a narrative that projects that all the church is bad. No, I think that there are people who have unfortunately mishandled people, and we have had an opportunity to bear witness to it so that we can do better.
I mean, you know, it's funny, man. It's just like, you know, the story of Saul, and God actually, you know, when people cried out for a leader, God anointed Saul to be their leader, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, it was Saul, right? Was it Saul? Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden, you know, God took his hand off of him because he began basically want to do his own thing. He forgot to pray or something before he went to battle, right? Mm. It's the same thing. I think that was happening in the church a lot, man. All these people at some point probably was called by God, but they began to become flesh, and I think God took their hand off of them. And I love it. I love the saying that God is the only one that will fire you but allow you to keep working, man.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, man. I think a lot of these people has been fired, but they gifted enough to still read a Bible verse and deliver a message. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. So what's your theology?
My theology is this, man. If we're going to be the hands and feet of God, the hands and feet of Jesus, we're gonna project the light, be the salt in the earth, right? The way that we live our life has to minister louder than anything we can say. So let your life preach to people before any words can come out your mouth and preach to them. That's my theology.
I agree. I think that was well said. So thank you guys so much for tuning in to another episode of the Love and Theology podcast. Thank you for liking, just sharing, subscribing. I feel like we might be able to come up with another episode before we go on a complete hiatus, but we have a topic that we need to talk about that came in from one of our viewers.
Let's go ahead and do it now. We'll go ahead and get 3 hours so we can be done. You know?
Okay.
I mean, it's up to you. I'm just saying.
Thank you so much for tuning into another episode of the Love and Theology podcast. Mm-hmm. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, and tell the whole wide world where you can find us.
Yes.
Bye.
But I know you're going to edit that one.
I know I've questioned many things in this world, but I never had to question your love. So I know one thing's for sure. I can put trust in a real love, your love.
For every mom who ever missed a meal so they would have enough to let their babies eat. Fathers who grind every day to provide more than good advice. Charlie Sheen, take it, everything you gotta take to bring the bacon home and put it on the table. You are not forgotten, legacies are made in our darkest hours. God is watching, keep your faith. Don't bend, don't fold, there's a lyric I quote. Tell me trouble don't last always. There's a Christ I know who revives the soul of the one who lose their way. Pursue the one who promised us a peace of mind. I tried to fly high on my choice of vice, but then I found Christ was the road to life.
Many things in this world,